3, 2, 1. Fantastic 3. Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to my channel. I was going to try to do a short thing today, but I got more mead. so I don't know if I want to do a short thing today. But also, it don't take me long to drink a bottle, so I'm going to be using a few, I'd say different decks. But I don't know, we'll see. I'll be using a few different decks here and there. I still haven't built any spreads. There's one that I built a minute ago. And by a minute ago, I mean it was like the end of 2019, I think. I'm pretty sure it was like Hermit week of 2019. So it might have been the week of the Mercury retrograde. I think Mercury retrograded around Halloween that year. Hey, Holly, how you doing? I'm like, don't know where my camera is. I think it was the week of Halloween 2019. Mercury retrograded, and I would like build some spreads and like read them to take hold of the reins and use them. But anyway, let's see if this was a good idea. Do I have reversals in here? No, I don't. Okay, good. I am not going to be reading reversals. I just want to see. We'll see. Oh. I don't know what I'm doing. Pluto's retrograding. Okay. I'm going to try to make this like 15 minutes. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Pluto retrograde back into Capricorn. I kind of want to use the SKT for that. I'm actually going to switch decks. I was like, I literally just had this box. Literally just had it. I can't want it anymore. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I can't keep playing by the... Okay, girl. The Pluto retrograde has been, well, back in the Capricorn, crossing the cusp. Is it still an ingress if it's retrograding? I guess this Pluto crossing back into Capricorn so far in my own personal life has been interesting. It's already been preceded by honestly, for me, remember how I was like, be careful what you declare to the universe because the universe will turn around and have you do it. Y'all remember how I was on here about how healed my Chiron is and how it trines my, well, I don't know if I talked about it when I was talking about how healed my Chiron is. But my Chiron is in Leo and it trines my North Node in Sagittarius pretty tightly, within a degree. And then I have an opportunity, I guess, an opportunity I am being called to find spaces, I guess, in my life to integrate the more spiritual me or the more spiritually like practicing me. I've had a conversation with a family member like yesterday that was like, I don't know, it was more, I don't know, I had to be more vulnerable, I guess, in a way. You know what? Let's read Patrick first, and then I'll do the collective, right? I do that because, like, I've got all this stuff. Let me get me out the way. So, because I can't find a box for this anyway that I literally just had in my hand. But yeah, it's been opportunities and it's been building up, I guess, for me to be more like, there are people that I know, hey, David, how you doing? IRL, who, like, I don't tell anybody I have a channel, really. Like my journey buddy, I just like actually gave her my channel maybe a month ago, maybe like a month and a half, because she was finally like, "Hey, can I ask what your channel is?" I was like, "Sure." um, but yeah, it's been like I told one person, then I told another person. I was like, and of course, I drew it out. I didn't just like be like, hey, I have a channel and here's my YouTube. I still haven't given them my YouTube channel, but I told them that I have one. And they're like, I'm going to find you. And I was like, oh, if you make a game of it, good luck. And then it's like I had that conversation with a cousin. I got an invitation and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we're doing this because I just told the universe and anybody who watches me on YouTube, and I guess through virtue, the whole world, because it's on YouTube. So I can't say no to this. Um, yeah, and Chiron, it felt like, it seemed like a potential for, not Chiron, a potential for Pluto going from Aquarius to Capricorn to Aquarius to Capricorn back to Aquarius, was that, like, while Pluto is in Aquarius, there's going to be some kind of expansion, or there's going to be an idea of an addition. And then when Pluto retrogrades back into Capricorn, we adjust, we modify, or we build upon the foundation to support what Pluto and Aquarius was sort of like projecting out into the future, or to support whatever Pluto in Aquarius sort of wants to bring about, right? And so that would be some changes to my foundation. So I guess how I operate in sort of relationship build, I guess, in a general sense, just in terms of, like, how open I am with, like, everything that I do, right? Because everything ain't everybody business. But I guess that's one thing that's happening. So there you go. All right. Who is this? I got two cards on the table that, oh, I didn't even ask for. The Ten of Wands in reverse, but I said I'm taking them all upright. The Ten of Wands and the Ruler of Swords. Can you see them? There you go. I'm using the Threads of Fate tarot. Trying to get you some oohs and ahs. Anyway, the Ten of Wands and the Ruler of Swords. This is interesting. This is literally, almost literally, like my birth chart. And then it's with the Ruler of Swords. So there's this, like, the Ruler of Swords is the King of Swords, I believe, which is an energy that y'all know. The King of Swords has been popping up. Came up for me recently. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things, like, I should have seen this coming, because this isn't the first time that happened. What'll usually happen is something will occur, Patrick will make a statement, and then the universe will be like, oh, really? And then I'm like, ooh, did I say that? And then the universe is like, yeah, you said it, but are you going to do it? And then I'm like, well, I guess I have no choice but to do it, because I said it, and I can't go back on my word, because whatever's on the other side of this, I want it. You know what I mean? But it was before that either. I mean, it was before that anyway. I was already like, it's been not a challenge or not a theme. Um, but I guess in a way, it's been something that I've been working towards and building towards in other ways. And there's been this nagging feeling that I've been having for about like 3 weeks now. That's like I got to incorporate more, or I have to integrate more, or I have to not be afraid to be all of me, and to not be so quick to like, if this happens then that goes away, or if that happens then this goes away, and we're going to see which side of the fence I fall on, and then I'm going to adjust the decorations in the lawn to match like the neighbors in that area. You know what I mean? Like if I live over here in Halloween Town, it's going to be Halloween decorations. But if I live in Christmasville, it's going to be Christmas. And if I live in Easterland, it's going to be like bunnies and eggs and stuff like that. And it's like, no. And so I was already, and I was talking to, like, when I said I was talking to Rob, and I was like, stop trying to make the subconscious happen. Well, it's been happening. I was like, fine, I can't be like that. Whatever. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And then as soon as I make that decision, or as I make those decisions, then of course things present themselves, things that I would otherwise naturally like be more avoidant to or averse to. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I can't do that anymore. So it's been a lot of reluctance even before, you know, that. But hey, how you doing, Killua? It's nice to see you again. I've only seen like I've seen Hunter x Hunter like subs more, so it's like Kirua. But every time I say like Killua, I don't want to be like Kirua, but I don't want to say Kalua either. You know what I mean? It's a catch 22. I'm glad to hear it. But yeah, it was. I was like, I could tell. I had a feeling. I just know. There's sometimes I know when I'm going to be like prompted to do this or do that, just like we all have an intuition and a discernment, right? Like, you know, when your intuition is like leading you in a certain way, like this way or that way, and you're like, well, I'm not necessarily extremely comfortable doing that, but hold up. Sorry. Sorry. That's crazy. That's pretty wild. Anyway. Um, so yeah, I get it's like, I'm feeling like I need to put myself out there more, or I'm feeling like I should get more into this, or I should get more into that, and then blah blah blah. Anyway, so that's what this Ten of Wands, I guess, and the Ruler of Swords is. Again, this Ten of Wands, because it looks like a birth chart, and like there are all these strings and stuff. There is that. It's just like balancing all of this, keeping it all, whatever. And the Ruler of Swords is the King of the Mind. I should have grabbed the Osho Zen Tarot, but I did not. Let's elaborate on this, okay? So I got this. We got this. What next? The Ruler of Swords and the Ten of Wands. And then we're going to do the collective. But it's definite. It's almost like if there were modules. So there were modules in my foundation that serve certain purposes and functions. There's like the don't talk about this module, and the isolation module to keep me going when I we sort of needed those. Oof, 1 second. I'm so rude, but this is my portion, so. But I shouldn't be rude to myself either. Whatever, I'll get over it. um. So, what was I talking about? I forget what I was talking about. Let's keep. Oh, the modules. Yeah. So there are certain modules that are being like switched out for other modules. Honestly, all right, Kidua. Um, there were some like when I was really young, I was a lot more extroverted. And then I swapped out the extroversion modules for like the introversion module. So it's like, let's get really into video games and really into like things that I can do on my own inside the comfort of my room. Things that I don't necessarily have to interact with other people for. Cause that's the program, not the program, but like that's the working whatever, that's the operating mode that we're in. It's like a low power mode or a high enhanced contrast mode, like the dark mode or nighttime mode. And then in the daytime, you switch it back to the daytime. It's like there's this swapping of like nighttime ones for daytime ones that's happening. So I recognize that. And that's what like this Pluto and Capricorn is like. Because, like I said, I've already especially I already know because it is my desire to do that like professionally as I am furthering my career. Um, but I guess the same extends to other areas of my life too. So I can't shut those down. So, ooh, the tower. The thing that I love about the tower in this deck is the emphasis on growth. This tower is like literally like you grow too big for your container. But it causes, it's like if you don't allow something to like release or expand, then it'll cause it to crack and it'll cause it to break. There we go. My chat was like disconnected. Chat disconnected. So what lies outside of the tower? Can you tell me? Ten of Cups. The Sun. Six of Pentacles. What lies outside the tower? The only time I've seen cards is like when I pick up the deck and I notice that there's a card that I didn't pick up, by the way. So I don't know if I've lived my whole life just leaving things on the table. Well, not my whole life, but all right. What lies outside of the tower? What lies outside of the tower? What lies? There we go. Bottom of the deck is. This is the bottom of the deck. A card back. Who flipped over? The Magician. Of course. This is a card I've been seeing a lot lately. Like every time I pick up a deck. Within the past like 3 or 4 or 5 times, I've either read my own cards or yeah, that just kind of happened, I guess. Or like I have my cards read, the Magician will pop out. I'm like, okay, well. Yes, 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 we know. Bouncing baby breath. We know. I know you know. Disney's Hercules. The fates are here and you didn't tell me? Who came out? The Ace of Coins and the Seven of Coins. I love that the 7 of coins is here because it's fine. I love that the 7 of coins is there because the top two, you see like the roots, and that's literally you got the roots growing out of the top of the tower and the roots going out of the bottom of the tower. Ace of coins, 7 of coins. See, it's a little different. But that and the 10 of wands is what that ace is, what the seed in the ace of coins is inside of. But in the ace of coins, it has a luminosity to it. In the ace of coins, it's light. So it's the light of that 10 of wands. The 10 of wands has come out recently. The 10 of wands, especially here right at this moment, as far as I've been seeing it, is really carrying that energy of like um the 10 of wands is a card of spiritual journeying, but it's the context of like burdens that are worth bearing or responsibilities that are worth having. um like if you're a parent to a young child, you can't just decide that you're not going to feed your kid. You know what I mean? Like that's a responsibility that like you have to attend to. You're responsible for what you bring into the world, for who you bring into the world, until they come of an age where they're responsible for themselves. But even that can be like a 10 of wands, especially like, if it's not necessarily easy, or if it's like your first time parenting and you don't know and you stress over like literally everything until you get comfortable with it. Cool. What elements are here? The tower, swords, fire, and earth. There's no water here. But it's interesting because in the Magi, the cup is here. And all like these three elements play up here, but the cup is here. It's almost like it's a bubble that comes out of the cup. Cool. All right. That was Patrick. Ooh, 20 minutes plus rambling. Not bad. I'm proud of me. I can get it right. We had this like Snow White, I guess, in the Seven Trolls movie. And there was this one part of the movie, like it's super quiet for the beginning of the movie. It's on VHS. It's super quiet for the beginning of the movie. And so you turn the volume like way up to hear it. And then there's this part where like a dragon roars or something. And then the volume like adjusts. So by the time that happens, it's so loud, it like scares you. It makes you jump. And then after that, like the movie is a lot, like the volume is a lot higher. So then you adjust the volume down. But that song is in that movie. That's why I'm thinking. I haven't seen that in a long time. I forgot about it, honestly. But apparently I didn't, because that song was somewhere in my little brain and my subconscious mind. All right. I don't know nothing about Quar. I don't know nothing about Haumea, if Haumea even is an asteroid. They like popped into my mind. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I have no clue. All right. Ooh, strength at the bottom of the deck. So let's get into Pluto. Here's the box. I knew I literally just had it. I knew I literally just had it. Let's see. It's also getting late, and I work now, so I need to sleep. But before I do that, we'll see what's up with Pluto in Aquarius. I'm going to do it like I've been doing lately, which is I'm actually only going to get 2 cards for Pluto in Aquarius. I'll get 2 cards for Pluto in Aquarius, 1 card for Pluto retrograde, 1 card for Pluto's first step into Capricorn, and then 3 cards for Pluto in Capricorn. And I'm going to try to remember that. I will try to remember that. Now all the water's coming out. But it ain't for me, it's for the collective. So, Pluto and Aquarius. 2 for Pluto and Aquarius. What is up with cards just being on the table? They're just sitting on the table. Jupiter in Pisces, Saturn in Libra. Jupiter and Saturn in conjunct. 9 of Cups, 3 of Swords. I'm going to put them back. Bottom of the deck is the 2 of Pentacles. Everything is here except for fire. All elements are present. 2 Pentacles, 9 Cups, 3 Swords. The Tower. Excuse me, I'm using the Vitruvian edition. All right. 2 cards for Pluto in Aquarius, please. Oh, is that 2 cards? It's 2 cards. Nice. The Knight of Wands and the Ace of Swords. The Shining Flame and Sacred Cinnabar. Lightning and the Pyre. And then Ace of Swords, the Consummating. This is Pluto in Aquarius. 1 card for the Pluto retrograde. Ooh, that is 2 cards, but I'll read them as 1. Ooh! The Archangel, Commander, and the Necromancer. Gateway of Resurrection, Angel of Storms and Battles. This is Pluto retrograding Aquarius. Now we have the first thing that Pluto, 1 card for the first thing that Pluto and Capricorn brings. 1 card like did some acrobatics but remained face down. That card is forever lost to the shuffle. Oh, that's way too many cards. But again, we're going to read them as 1. Judgment came out face up. I said it would be 1 card for Pluto retrograding Capricorn, 3 cards for Pluto, 1 card for like what Pluto first brings as it retrogrades Capricorn, and then 3 cards for like the entirety of Pluto and Capricorn. 3 cards face down, 1 card face up. But I'm still going to read them all as 1 card. Am I? No, I'm not. Because it gave me the 3 cards. So all of this Pluto and Capricorn energy is connected. Which means it's not disparate. Which means it's not separate. And it rarely is. Like we wouldn't think it necessarily is, right? This is Apocalypse in this deck. There's the Lion. It's interesting that the Lion is here. Because Venus and Mars are about to conjunct in Leo. Or they will be conjuncting in Leo within like a month, I think. Yeah, I think within a month. I think it was like July 16, 17, 18, where they conjunct. It might be later. And I'll leave these 3 face down for now. So, Pluto and Aquarius, it honestly feels like there are things that we have had a desire to either do or like changes that we've had a desire to make or things that we've wished to see in the world because of this Knight of Wands. Now, the Ace of Swords is going to be the revelation, the information, the download, the whatever to like accomplish it. This is the idea that gets us there. It's also interesting that you see the sun in the top corner and it's radiating just like this Ace of Swords is. It's definitely a be the change you wish to see in the world type of energy, more so than like just sit around and wait for it to happen. Now, Pluto retrograding Aquarius, it's the Necromancer and the Archangel Commander. I almost want to say, like, with this much light, there's bound to be some type of shadow. Almost. Um, but it's not necessarily that. This can also read as like standing in one's truth. It's like what was sort of hidden and what had died under the light of the moon. We now stand proudly in with the Archangel Commander. It's very much so like a give no F's type of energy. It's very much so like I mean it's an easy connection from the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Wands to this energy of like I know what I need to do. I know what I want to see and I'm gonna make this happen. I don't care if you don't see it. I don't care if somebody else doesn't see it. I don't care if it doesn't sound logical or plausible. This is such a deep, like, I almost want to say reliance. Like the word reliance pops into my mind, but it's such a deep trust and knowing in oneself and in like what is for oneself. Pluto, the first thing that Pluto retrograding in Capricorn is bringing is apocalypse, is judgment. The tower did make an appearance after the earth, the water, and the air. The Two of Cups, the joined one, is the bottom of the deck. Two of Cups came out in the Quantum Tarot, I believe. Yeah, it came out in the Quantum Tarot. It was what, Two of Cups, Seven of Swords? Because I remember it had the Caduceus and the lion head and the clouds. There's an alpha and omega on here. Because of this, it is almost very like, in order for one thing to begin, another thing must end type of energy. Honestly, this is feeling very nodal shift from Taurus Scorpio into Aries Libra. It's feeling like Aries Libra. Aries being that like I'm gonna do that thing. I'm gonna be me, regardless of what anybody thinks. And if I lose some friends, if I lose some family along the way, then hey, they weren't meant to be here. It's easily read that way. But Aries Libra could also be like everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a part. And when I do my part, and when you do your part, and when everyone else does their part, then the whole thing functions as a well oiled machine. Somebody literally said that yesterday. If I do my part and you do your part, they contribute their part, we'll be good. I heard it yesterday. IRL. I helped my grandma with a program to recognize men of distinction in the community. And one of the men that was recognized said that. Basically, like, I'm just doing my part, you know? That can also be Aries North Node, Libra South Node. That I would say, in my own probably biased opinion, would be like a healthy way to play that nodal axis rather than I'm going to do what I want to do regardless of what anyone says or anyone else thinks. Not that that's necessarily like bad, but it feels like it can easily tip into benefiting the self at detriment of others, which is different than like not putting oneself on the back burner in order to appease others. Like there's a difference. But anyway, The first thing here is judgment, is apocalypse. In order for some things to begin, other things must end. Um, and Malkut rests in the palms and the hands of the individual here. And that's is like it supports the weight of the entire tree of life. So it's heavy. This is also Pluto. Traditionally fire, judgment, modernly Pluto, and because of a rulership, it can be Scorpio. So Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is like, hey, I'm Pluto. Maybe in a way that Pluto wasn't when it was like only in Capricorn. When Pluto was direct and retrograde and direct and retrograde and direct and retrograde in Capricorn, it was one thing. But after Pluto's had a taste of Aquarius, after Pluto's moved into Aquarius, Pluto and Capricorn could be completely different. Because it's almost one of those like, I've seen better, I know better, I've seen the world. And now that I've come back home or now that I've come back here, you can't convince me that this is all there is. Because I know for myself that it isn't. So, what are we going to do? First card is Saturn and Libra, the Three of Swords. These are the cards for like Pluto in Capricorn or Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. The first thing it brings is judgment. These are just energies like in the entirety of it. Excuse me. The second card is the Ebony Shield, power and authority of Earth. It's literally in Capricorn. This is cardinal Earth, Queen of Pentacles energy, Capricorn. Third card is the Warrior, which is the master of the mystic light, the sun. I don't think I've ever read her title. I don't remember Master of the Mystic Light. I always just read the Warrior, but anyway. The Sun, cute. Love that. What I'm looking at is we have the 12 zodiac signs, the 7 traditional planets, and some mystic something that I don't know. See, on the outer ring of petals is the zodiac signs. On the middle ring is the 7 planets, which is like the traditional ones. No, it's just the 2, 4, 6. The sun, the moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and Venus. So it doesn't have the north node, south node. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold up. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold up. I can't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I said it right. The 7 traditional. And then sometimes I'll add the north node and south node. This honestly, it reads as kind of tough. It reads as really tough. I don't think it necessarily has to be though. I don't think it has to be hard. You have the Three of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Sun. It's like geared towards the way that we either make a living or the way that we live our lives with the Queen of Pentacles. And it's like the way that it's all of that in terms of like almost how we sustain ourselves. The Three of Swords is rough because, you can see it's like heartbreak and heartache and swords piercing the heart. But Isis is also on this. Isis being associated with resurrection, literally Pluto retrograding in Aquarius is the necromancer, the gateway of resurrection. The reason why it reads as kind of rough is because the sun is going to be shining light on these areas. But again, like I feel like it doesn't have to be, because of Pluto and Aquarius being this Knight of Wands, Ace of Swords. Again, the Ace of Swords feeling like finally we understand what it is that we need, or what it is that we need to do, what it is that we need to take care of, who it is that we need to be in order to move something in the way that we want it to move, or in order to become the version of ourselves that we want to become, in order to live a life that's free of this or free of that or more of this. But again, with Pluto and Capricorn first bringing this judgment, some things must end in order for other things to begin. And some of the things that are ending, some of the things that must end, aren't things that we really want anyway. Again, it's the Three of Swords. But we've made ourselves comfortable. It's almost like we've healed around the wound, but we might not have necessarily healed the wound. It's basically like sweeping it under the rug. Or it's like we clean our rooms by shoving things under the beds and into the closet and all of these other spaces that people won't find. And then the sun comes in, and it's almost like those are the first spots that it immediately goes towards. Because it's like, oh, like, really? You shoved everything under your bed again? Oh, it's like you do that every time you clean your room, you know? But again, I feel like it'll be a lot easier if we have an understanding of why it is that something is being highlighted and illuminated. And like, especially if like what we have to gain by addressing it is something that we know, because then it makes it worth it. It's like, oh, if I got to go to work to get a paycheck, depending on what the job is, it's like, oh, if I only have to do this to get that, I'll do it. It's worth it. It might be challenging, it might be difficult, but compared to what it is that I will get, worth it. If I wasn't getting this, it might not be worth it. If I wasn't getting anything, it probably definitely wouldn't be worth it. And the Two of Cups again is the bottom of the deck. So it's like it's an energy that gets us closer. It moves the needle forward more towards where it is that we want to go and who it is that we want to be in, the environments and situations that we want to be in, and the people that we want to be with, be they friends, family, lovers, whatever. But there are things within the self that are probably going to come to the light. I guess it's Pluto. And maybe that's why judgment is here too. It's like, oh, when Pluto was like in Capricorn and retrograding and like prograding, that was one thing. But now that Pluto's gotten a taste of Aquarius, now that Pluto has seen the future, basically, it's like, oh, okay, so all this stuff in the foundation needs a complete rework, needs a complete overhaul, needs a renovation. It's like this ain't been addressed since 1962. That hasn't been updated or renovated or remodeled since 1874. And we're living in 2023, looking at 2045. And again, it's like it's some of these maybe things that maybe some of them we wouldn't even know of as like issues because we have been where we've been. It's almost like it's sometimes it's not until you experience different that you know that different exists. Pluto and Aquarius has experienced different. Pluto and Capricorn is going back home like I want that. So all right, one last thing. Pluto and Capricorn. Fortunately, I guess Uranus isn't late enough in Taurus that I don't think it's gonna make any like super exact trines to Pluto while it's retrograding Aquarius or while it's retrograding Capricorn. And then here is oh look, here's the Holy See, which is the Hierophant in this deck, which is Taurus, right? Yes, which is Taurus. I was literally just talking about Uranus and Taurus trining. Under that, though, is the Two of Cups, the one that was at the bottom of the deck before, with the sharpshooter, Eight of Wands, right under that. Quick quick. The card that came out is Mars in Leo. Mars is in Leo right now. The Eight of Wands is Venus in Sagittarius. So not quite Leo. Mars in Leo, the Seven of Wands, the Dark Horse, is the card that came out. I feel like this ultimately, to like wrap this all up, it's don't count yourself out. Don't count yourself out. Don't sell yourself short. And if you can help it, don't take the easy way out because you're worth it. You're worth the time, energy, and effort. You're worth the tender loving care and attention that it's going to take to grow you into whatever. You're like a flower in a tower. Then I went into the what's it? I wish now I'm ordinary. So, had a daughter like a flower in the tower. Then I went into the what's to get my wish now I'm ordinary. Sorry. Anyway, I haven't seen Into the Woods in a hot minute, but I like anyway. It's fine. Yeah, with the Dark Horse, it's just like don't count yourself out. It's Mars and Leo. I don't know because Leo can also be about family. It can also be about community. I guess like North Node Aries, South Node Libra could also be like being the leader that your community needs. It's like taking charge to the benefit of other people with that South Node in Libra. When you integrate it, especially because it's not to be so focused on the North Node that you abandon the South. Because then when the North Node, because it's constantly moving, when it goes and hits the South Node, you have a possibility of cleaning up a mess that you made while the nodes were opposite. It's almost like now you got to backtrack, now you got to backpedal, now you got to recover instead of, anyway. That's just how this one feels, at least. But also with this Dark Horse, it's like we are in a position of advantage. We have the high ground. I think another thing with this is I don't know if there are necessarily things that it'd just be better to walk away from. Excuse me. Because sometimes with the Seven of Wands, I don't think it's extremely often, but especially a card like the Seven of Wands, where like the person that signifies us clearly is in a position of advantage. It's like, well, does it even matter? Does it need to be defended? Leo can have an ego. And so some Leo may be like, yeah, but a high vibe a Leo that is like fully confident in self, has enough of an understanding, has enough of a knowing of self that it doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. And sometimes when we take the bait to prove ourselves to someone, we actually lower ourselves almost through virtual, like now we are putting something up for debate, or now we are opening something up for debate that was unquestionable. You know what I mean? I feel like I want one card to clarify this. One card to clarify. Thank you. The Dark Horse. Oh, girl. The Grotesque. Ooh, the Destroyer. The Grotesque, Mars in Scorpio. Face down card, and then the Destroyer, which is Sun in Gemini. Sun in Gemini is the Ten of Swords. Destroyer, the Destroyer, especially in the Revelations edition, has been a card that came out like months ago. But it's been this theme of like purifying the vessel in order to receive more divine light or to receive a gift. But it purifies a vessel in both like light and shadow. So, in some light areas, we may be encouraged to shine brighter, Mars and Leo, as if the sun weren't hot enough. Sometimes, like in the light, it may be an encouragement to shine brighter. In the shadow, it can be an encouragement to dig deeper, to get to the root of some things, or it could just be like for us to be able to manage our own shadow and to manage our own ego and to not lash out at other people, essentially, to not be so frail or vulnerable that we have so much to prove that we will actually put ourselves in a position of disadvantage when we naturally have the advantage. The face down card in the middle is the outlaw, which is the hanged man. Saturn and Neptune are both in Pisces right now. The hangman, water, traditionally Neptune, modernly Pisces. In a way, the counterpart to judgment, because water and fire. Um, but this hangman hangs from the Ankh. The Ankh symbolizing life. The grotesque is the thing that makes us special, the thing that makes us different, the thing that makes us unique. This is very easily whatever is hidden in this Necromancer Moon card. The thing that we stand proudly on and stand proudly in, that we no longer shrink back from or hide away from or whatever. There it is. And with this Ten of Swords, I don't know if this is a breaking point, but again, all of these clarify this Seven of Wands, where we are at a position of advantage. Oh, look, they almost look the same, don't they? But this is the one that stopped crying about it. It's not necessarily like stop crying about it and do something. Oh, Mars and Leo, Mars and Scorpio, they square. Fixed fire squaring fixed water. So this is really going to be challenging a narrative. And then the sun in Gemini brings light to those polarities and dualities. Again, with the hangman on the back. So I was going to say a differing perspective. A different perspective would probably be very helpful, but I don't know if it involves a little bit. It feels more like, welcome back. It feels more like understanding. That's one of those things that's like, I had a tough time relating to this person or a tough time connecting to this person because this was my truth. This is how I was raised. And that was their truth. That was how they were raised. And so it's understandable that for a time we couldn't see eye to eye. But as I've grown and matured and lived more life and met more people, and as they've grown and matured and lived more life and met more people, we've grown enough to maybe be able to find a mutual acceptance for one another, even if we still struggle to understand type of energy. Like that's the hanged man. It's like we look at it differently, but it's also about differing perspectives at the same time. The card that came out face down is the journeyman, Sun in Virgo. So we got Sun in Gemini and we got Sun in Virgo, Sun in mutable air and earth. No feelings involved, honestly. There's no fire, there's no water. There's no ego, there's no pride, there's no hurt feelings. It's more like analytical, it's more understanding, it's more of that. And the Eight of Pentacles is a card of attaining mastery. So it can be a card of apprenticeship, but it's not like apprenticeship without a goal or without a purpose in mind. And because it's an energy of apprenticeship, it's like it works under a reputable master, if that makes sense. Again, like it's not for no reason, it's not for no cause. There is a belief that there is something that we will gain from it that has the power to impact our day-to-day lives and to improve our quality of life. Because why else would you apprentice under someone? You know what I mean? And again, that Queen of Pentacles, the Ebony Shield, is right here as um, Pluto retrograding Capricorn. It's the heart of it. Cool. Bottom of the deck now is the Emperor. Take charge. And there's the Ankh again. I love how this changed. Because in the Hangman, it almost feels like it's subjected to the whims of life rather than feeling like it's more in control. And what we can control more often than not is our response to something. And in order to be able to better control our response to something, there may be some things that we need to like resolve within self. Right. I was literally just catching up with one of my work buddies today. One of my old work buddies. She reached out to me, one of my friends. And she's like, there's this coworker that like it's kind of irking me a little bit, but I just need to like get over it and like move on or whatever. It's like we learn to accept things in people if we are of a mind to learn. Not everyone is, and that's okay. It's almost very like you got to risk it if you want the biscuit type of energy. Who is this turned over? Whoa, 3 cards. Where did y'all come from? The 8 of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and the Tower. Saturn and Pisces, which is where it's at. The Ivory Shield, Power and Authority of Water, Queen of Cups, and the Tower. Mars, material and spiritual colliding. The material and spiritual colliding. Can we put all of that spiritual mumbo jumbo, woo woo, 5D into play as we actually live real life? Or is it just something that we talk about on the internet and then we get together with people and we talk about how we whatever, but in real life we're like the complete opposite person? You ain't gotta go there. It's fine. That was far enough. And it's the power and authority of water. You can't lie to water. You can try. Anyway, I noticed those 3. So I'm going to get a final card and then I'm going to end this. This ended up being a little longer than 15 minutes. The Lovers and the 5 of Pentacles. It's finding a place where it could also be like realizing where our place is. Like it makes me think of the loser that tries to fit in with the popular kids in high school. And it's like rather than trying to force your way into a certain space or rather than trying to fight for love and acceptance and attention from people whose whole identity is based upon not giving it to you to a certain degree, especially those high school clicky movies, but you know it's real life too. Like their whole identity is based upon like not being one of the losers, like not being you. But it's like instead of fighting to get a place in a space that honestly you wouldn't want to be in, you find that love and acceptance, not where you can get it, but like you find your place. And it'll be a place where you don't have to twist and contort and become something or someone else in order to get that attention or in order to get that love, where you don't have to pretend or whatever. It's possible. But, you know, sometimes that comes with a fair amount of vulnerability because then you got to be real self. All right. Final card, Pluto and Aquarius for the collective from the SKT. Ooh, the Initiate. Oh, bottom of the deck is the Emperor again. It's only one card. The Initiate. What is this? Spirit in search of experience, ab incunabulus, and then ab aeterno. It's basically like from the cradle to the grave. But also we see the mystic rose at the top, which was that warrior. which was the sun. It was on the sun, remember? It's a time of becoming, apparently. So that concludes this. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Seems like Pluto and Capricorn it can bring some challenges, but all very much so worth overcoming. And it seems like it has the ability to honestly leave us a lot better off and to assist us in building a foundation that can actually support the things that we want to see in the future in our own personal lives and as well as like on earth. Because again, it's like it almost makes me think of a building that has a rushed construction, or when you just keep like adding and adding and adding and adding and adding stuff, but there's no consideration for the foundation. It's like those buildings that, like some new apartment building that just collapses because the building was rushed. Or it makes me think of how they say that like parking garages, a lot of them were made in like the 1960s, 70s, maybe 80s. But as there's like this shift to cleaner cars, like electric or hybrid or whatever, like cleaner cars are heavier than traditional cars. Supposedly, this is all the internet, girl. What do I personally know? But the metaphor is coming to my mind. Um, so if everyone switched to the new electric vehicles, our current infrastructure wouldn't be able to support it. Those parking garages would crumble under the weight of cars that are significantly heavier than their traditional counterparts. So again, as we are progressing and modernizing and moving forward in our lives, we also have to continue to like reinforce the structure. So that can be something as simple as like if you get a new job and it's super hot, you're going to have to hydrate. So maybe you're not used to drinking a lot of water, or maybe you're not used to hydrating. But if you don't, you're going to pass out at work and it's going to be a bigger thing. Um, or like anything like that. Changes to our daily lives, changes in the way that we go about this or we go about that because of how life continues to grow and change and evolve. Right. Or it can be anything else. Like it doesn't have to be like work, it can be something that you enjoy. You find a new hobby that you enjoy, but you work too much. So now you have to like cut back on your hours, or if you're a boss, you hire another employee or you promote someone who can handle it, because Capricorn, especially in its light, or like just good Capricornian energy, it's something that stands the test of time. So it's not that rushed thing because it'll crumble. And if it crumbles, it wasn't Capricorn. It wasn't rushed. Because anyway, Saturn is better than that. But anyway, like I said, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and where you find, even if that is a pair of eyes to see things in a different way, or a mind, or a little nagging voice in your head that gets you to consider something else, or just like good people who won't do the things to you that other people in your life may not have, or who won't do what other people may have done, even if it's just a few people, you know. And I will catch you in the next one. Uh, maybe tomorrow, maybe not. Today is Monday. Almost thought it was Tuesday. When I wake up, it'll be Tuesday.